Hey there, want to hang out? I got a few minutes. I have just returned home after bringing my son home from work. I hung out with my granddaughter today, one of them, named Hazel. You may have seen her before if you've been watching my channel. And anyway, I was gonna take my supplements, so I thought I'd share what I take for supplements, and then I remembered that I saw in my memories on Facebook a post about what supplements I was taking like 10 years ago, and I wanted to see and compare, but it must not have been from today because I was just looking at my memories from today and I didn't remember seeing them, so. But I just saw this quote. 6 years ago today, I wrote this: that behavior is not who you are. That behavior is how you show the world your own relationship with who you are. Wow. That's pretty profound right there, if I do say so my humble self. That behavior is not who you are. That behavior is how you show the world your own relationship with who you are. Yes, yes. Alright, so I guess, unless this goes back another day, I don't think I'm going to be able to see my supplement list. Oh, here's something I posted 9 years ago today. Bruce Lipton, The Biology of Belief full lecture. It's on YouTube. He's wearing a blue shirt. And I was just thinking about this topic. You can kind of see him there. That's the video. Highly recommend. I was actually, before I even saw this in my memories, I was thinking about talking about this because I was thinking, like, I don't know, I think for a while I was so immersed in my spirituality that it just seemed like common sense to me. It seemed like everybody understands why you would do this. And now that I've been sort of, I don't know, something has shifted where my hold on, what's the word? Locus of control. Is that the right? I'm more operating from within. And I was just thinking about how when I observe the people around me, it doesn't seem like they even understand why you would want to do shadow work. Like, to me it's so obvious, right? It's like, of course you need to do shadow work. Like, how else are you going to be free? But to other people, they're just suppressing and denying their stuff, and they're probably suffering internally for it, and they don't know that they could actually alleviate that and feel freedom. And that's, yeah, I've just been thinking about that and how maybe I needed to explain, like, how things work within a context that, like, would let people understand why it's important to do shadow work, like what you would change in your life. Yeah. Anyway, and Bruce Lipton's work would be part of that because he's showing the scientific reasons, about how we operate as human beings and things like that. Let's see if there's anything else good here. Okay, nothing there. Alright, then let's just look at my supplements. Let's log out of this. So, what I take is clove, wormwood, and black walnut hulls. Okay, so the reason I take these is this combination of these three things kills all parasites in every stage that they can be at. Right? So like one of them will cover one stage and one covers the other stages, you know? So you gotta take all three. And you want to do it for like an extended period of time, at least 2 weeks. But, you know, I every once in a while will like take these for a week or so, you know? And this combination kills all the parasites. Now, by the way, parasites are always found in every disease, every person who dies from a disease, parasites are there. When you get overloaded with parasites, your health suffers. It doesn't feel good, you know? And also, it can be a reflection of what is going on outside of you, too. Like, do you have parasitic people around you, you know? Like, are people feeding off your energy, using you in some way, you know? Anything like that. But anyways, we will be taking these. I have re-upped on my clove, so when I'm out of this, I got this one. And looks like there's a lot more in this one than there was in this one. Put them in my drawer right here. And I will just get one of each of these, and then I will show you the next group. So, we take the Parasite Cleanse. I made myself some coffee to take these with. Iced coffee. It's really delicious. Alright, next I take potassium, B1, and D3 and K2. Potassium, B1, D3, and K2. The reason I take these is because of my adrenals. These are the things that help balance out my adrenals. And you need to make sure you have calcium with these, to make sure you're getting calcium as well. But also, by the way, I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving you any advice. But I'm just telling you why I take these and what it's for. But when I say you need to, it's like I'm telling you what I learned. And so I am sure to make sure I have a calcium intake with these, otherwise they don't get absorbed. But the reason I take these is I ran across this great video by Dr. Berg on YouTube, and he was talking about the adrenal fatigue body type or something like that. And I was like, dang, that's my body. And so apparently when your adrenals are stressed out for a long period of time, like you lose muscle in your buttocks, and the cortisol spikes, put fat on your midsection. And this body type will show up in people who have prolonged stress. And I was like looking at the body type on the thing, and I was like, holy shit, it's my whole entire family is built like this. The women in my family have been built like this. And it made so much sense. I was like, oh my gosh, yes, they're all fucking stressed out. And it's because of the dysfunctional relating things that I talk about. It's like the reason why we want to do shadow work is because these things exist as patterns that are passed on through our ancestry, and they're incredibly unhealthy. And anyway, the reason I take supplements is because changing the patterns is very important, right? But also my body needs to recover from that. And so I'm giving it resources in order to help it do that. This is not required in order to recover, but because I have these resources, right? I have the money to put into these resources. I can give these resources to my body and just help my body along, because it's not just one thing I'm recovering from, right? Like it's a bunch of little things. So where I can add the resources for my body to use to recover, I do. You know, and when I know about it, right? Like, so this D3 is almost gone, but I will point out that Dr. Berg said that you really need a really high dose of the D3, and it's a higher dose than most recommended daily values. So look how much I'm taking of that. 20,000 IU, and maybe like 200 is the recommended or something like that. Like it's not near as much. But I can tell you that when I started taking this combination, especially when I added the B1 in, because I added the B1 after. First I just got these, and then I added the B1. I already felt better with these B1 added in. Oh, I noticed the difference so much. So, well worth it. That's one of them. The D3K2 is a little bit more expensive. Like, this is a more expensive thing. Just, I think, because you're getting the high dose. But well worth it. That's why I've re-upped on those. Alright, so let's take this round. Alright, next I take parsley and cilantro. Actually, that cilantro is empty, and I've just ordered another cilantro. So parsley and cilantro. The reason I take parsley and cilantro, which obviously these are things that you could eat in your diet, right? All of these things are. The reason why I take them as supplements is because I hate cilantro, by the way. Parsley's okay, but I don't usually buy it. It goes bad pretty quick, and it's like, how many things am I going to eat parsley on? This way, I'm sure to get it into my system. And the reason why is these two together eliminate heavy metals in the blood. So, the reason why I'm concerned with heavy metals in my body is because I have mercury fillings. Do I have any left? You can see my teeth are in rough shape. Oh, wrong. I have one there. That's my only one left. All the other ones broke off. Wow, yeah, my body was really rejecting that. Mercury fillings. I had them since I was a kid, but mercury fillings obviously are very bad for you because it leaks mercury into your bloodstream and right near your blood-brain barrier. It's a terrible, terrible thing to have had mercury fillings. But we didn't know what we didn't know, right? And so with knowing that I'm seeping mercury into my system, on the daily, I took up taking these for years now. I have been taking these, somewhat regularly. So parsley and cilantro to eliminate heavy metals. Now the other place heavy metals will show up is in anything that was in a can, right? Like tuna fish. I eat tuna fish. They also talk about things that are being sprayed in the environment, in the skies and things like that. those have heavy metals. The other thing that has heavy metals is vaccines. So that's why I take these. All those reasons. I didn't get like COVID vaccine or anything like that, but I had vaccines when I was younger. Obviously. Not obviously, maybe not obviously, but even when I had my first child, they said that I wasn't vaccinated against the mumps, and I took the vaccine then. I should have never done that, but I did. Then I take this B12. It's a vegan B12. It dissolves under your tongue, and the reason is because I was diagnosed with pernicious anemia like 20 years ago. And pernicious anemia is when you don't have enough B12 in your body. The symptoms are like numbing on your fingertips and like brain fog and I don't know, all kinds of things you don't really want to deal with. So every once in a while I'll put these under my tongue. I don't take this one every day. But B12 is stored in the liver, is what my understanding is. And most people will have like a lifetime supply stored in their liver. But some people who have pernicious anemia, it may be more common today than it was when I was diagnosed. But when I was diagnosed, it was something that was more rare. B12 deficiency. It can be very serious. And my B12s are getting, like, I can tell they're kind of old now. I need to, like, get a new bottle because, like, I can just taste, like, ugh. The other thing I take is this turmeric curcumin. I don't think this is a very good brand. I got this at Walmart, probably. But that's probably just where I could get it at the time. And I like this because it helps with inflammation. Oh, this has ginger powder as well. Like it says, general wellness, supports healthy inflammatory response, promotes cardiovascular, immune, joint, and skin health. I always like it. Like if I'm having a big inflammation response, sometimes I'll just take like 4 of them. There we go. I need to order some of this organic coconut milk that I just got because I'm getting low on it and I really do like it in my coffee. So let's see what we can order for organic powdered coconut milk. And oh yeah, because we got Prime Day. It's a good day to get it because it's Prime Day. A 20-ounce package. That is 1.25 pounds. That seems good. For $15. $13.50 with subscribe and save discount. Does seem like something I'll be getting quite often. See if that's the best price. So then I'll just look and say, okay, so if I found 40 ounces for $26, that would be the equivalent. So let's see what else we got here. 12 ounces for 10. It's not good. Coconut milk powder, 2 pounds of it. for $20. £2 is a lot, but I don't really like that brand that it's showing me. What else we got? Eight ounces for $16. 16 ounces for $16. I don't know why I'm so hesitant on this NutriCost. I got the NutriCost clove, so why don't I want the canoe? Oh, it's not organic. That's why I don't want it. Yeah, I am looking for an organic one. I always go for organic over non-organic whenever I can. I'll spend $1 more if it's just, that's the difference between getting organic or not. It's well worth it to me. I wonder how many ounces the package that I got is. I feel like that will help me decide. And then I can also look that brand up. Hold on a second. Okay, the one I have is 8 ounces by Bare Organics. So let's see what that is. Bare Organics. Amazon does not sell that brand. That was only 8 ounces. That's lasted me... might last 3 weeks. So 8 ounces lasting 3 weeks. Eight ounces lasting 3 weeks would make that 2 pounds one last way too long, right? It's not organic. Guys, this is what it's like for me when I buy stuff, okay? I always have to scrutinize, make sure I'm getting the right deal, the best deal. I check everything twice, I compare everything. This one has 2 flavors. Interesting. I like that this one is in a screw top container, but it doesn't have very good ratings. And it doesn't tell me how much is there. Okay, that's a problem. Okay, this one is organic and it's 2 pounds and it's 10% off. When you subscribe, so it would be $26 versus $20 for the non-organic. Micro ingredients organic coconut milk powder, 2 pounds. I definitely don't want to pay $26 for this stuff. So let's go to this 20 ounce package for $13. That's more our jam. Yeah. Top reviewed for taste. We like that. We totally like that. What else do we want to know about it? It's a Prime deal. It's 41% off if you subscribe. Wow. I mean, I guess we gotta do it. Natural coconut, no chemicals, handmade producing process. Drying, grinding, packing with a handmade process by experienced locals. I mean, just some dudes on an island scraping some shit while they're wearing, shorts. Okay, though. It does enhance my coffee situation, and I like my coffee. So, I'm gonna have to say, only the best coconuts. Oh, they show them in a plant. Dry the coconut to retain color and nutrients. Grind the dried coconut meat to the fine powder. Pack the powder into a premium craft bag. Heat seal the bag to keep the powder in the best. Interesting. I didn't know it was the whole coconut. Coconut milk powder. Unsweetened. Yeah, I mean, this is what we want. So next time I buy it, I'm going to have to pay a lot more if I don't get a larger amount. I'll have this subscribe. So, yeah. I know guys hanging out with me while I'm shopping for my coconut milk powder might not be that exciting. This is what hanging out with me is like, okay? I am going to get to some more exciting stuff because I was thinking about pulling some cards. What do you guys think? Yeah, you like that? I'm just giggling because I'm acting as if you answered me even though you didn't answer me, you know? And then we've got coconut oil soft gels. Yeah, I think I gotta go for it. What's this one? Wildly organic. Oh, I'm going for this. Going for this one. Subscribe. $13. We're doing it. We're doing it. No fees. Skip or cancel anytime. Non-returnable. Receive it by Wednesday. Save 10% now and 15% on your next order. Alright. We're doing it. Oh, I have 16 cents off. I'll use it. So, $13.34 for a pound and a quarter of coconut milk powder. change the delivery address since it's going to come to me. Me, 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 me. Me, 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 me. This is my address book. When I do Christmas cards, I go into my Amazon delivery addresses because I've sent people, gifts and stuff over the years. If I choose to have it on No Rush Saturday, no, I'm not going to do that because I don't want it sitting in a truck somewhere and getting hot. Well, I never would have thought, but I'm doing it. Alright, Wednesday I shall get that. Oh, I have 5 items in my cart. What are they? Because we have Prime deal going on right now. Oh, clothes. I don't need any of the clothes. Delete. Save for later. Save for later. Save for later. Save for later. Alright, empty cart. So, I didn't work today. I wanted to just enjoy time with Hazel, and we did. We played a bit. She painted some rocks. We played with her new airplane. It was actually a pretty cool airplane. It's like foam. It was like $3 at Walmart, but it's like big, like this big, and foam pieces, like like an airplane, like a foam airplane. It flies really good. It was fun. We were just like flying it back and forth to each other. She liked that game. I liked that game. We did not go swimming like she wanted to today. It was like not a very hot day, and I just was like so tired. So I skipped it. Sometimes I think like why I shouldn't skip any days of going swimming because I'm so fortunate to be living where I'm living with the lake right outside my back door, and I won't be here forever, so I should take advantage of it, But today I just could not bring myself to do it. I've just been a little bit like tired, I guess. Tired is the best way to describe it. But I have a lot to do tomorrow, so hopefully I'll rest well tonight. I just wasn't ready to rest yet. So I decided to come home and do a little visits, which my laptop, usually when I do these recordings lately, my laptop's already on my bed sitting here with me because I've been working all day. But today I was not working all day, but I put this laptop here just so I could say hello and do a little visit and just hear myself talk for a while. I guess I needed to do that. I feel like I just want to swim up from the mud I've been in, like for a while. I've devoted myself to, my family, and I love my family, don't get me wrong, but like I am so over all the shadows that people are holding on to within themselves. I can't make them, I can only inspire them to want to, and that I can't do either because they seem to go a different direction. Like in the face of me, doing better for myself, or, clearing out old patterns that were holding me back or making me act dumb. Instead of recognizing that for me, like, they all seem to just be in denial about it. So weird. Throw like little digs that have nothing to do with anything, and I don't know, man. It's just been a little bit discouraging. And it's like, it's not discouraging in the way that I'm gonna like sit down and be like, poor me, and why does it have to be this way? It's discouraging in the way of like, I'm not doing this anymore, so see ya. That's how I feel about it. I don't think I'm gonna be like walking away from my family fully or anything like that. I just think like some space is in order, And that's what I feel like. So it's time to let some more like-minded people into my life, I guess, is what I'm realizing. So, are you like-minded? Let me know. Are you? Are you like-minded? I really want to know. So here's what my mind is like. I've learned to be better at being on Earth and doing my practical things. And I think that the process of getting better at doing the practical things was a process of just finding stability so I could feel safe on Earth, And I came up with certain ways, like, just following typical ways, things you have to do, like paying your bills and, making sure everything's organized and cleaning up after yourself and, all the regular practical things that everyone has to do. But like before, when I was in trauma and like having breakdowns and stuff, like I wasn't like concerned with that because I wanted to die every day. So like whether the dishes were done or my bed was made or my bills were paid was not a concern most of the time because I was just like literally wanting to die all the time. And so eliminating the want to die was very helpful because it allowed me to start focusing on getting my life together practically as well. So now I have both of those things, right? I have emotional stability and I have practical, physical stability. And it feels great. The hardest part, I think, is that it's hard to watch people that I love just stay in the patterns that are really self-sabotaging and like just old, It's like, why are you still doing that? Like, isn't that the thing you complained to me about last week? I mean, like, don't you want to just like change it or something? Stuff like that. It's just like, ugh. So instead of watching that, I gotta spend my time doing other things because I think that was motivating me to work on my project and just put a lot of faith in knowing that I can change things around for them when I have a certain level of success. But lately I've realized also that I don't want that in the foundation, in the ingredients of my success. Like, my success can't be built on the fear that I don't think my family members can do it on their own. Because they can. They don't need me to save them. And so I have to like change my attitude about what they're going through, Because like I went through really hard things and I made it out the other side. So I know they can too, And me thinking that they can't is just like my poor me kind of ego stuff that's not accurate, think it's just like remnants of the old way of just like expecting things to go bad. But things don't have to go bad. I've done the work. I can back it up. Like, it's all in me through and through. And that feels really good. And worthwhile. So why do shadow work? Well, for me, it was the difference of living every day and wanting to die. If anything challenged me, disrupted me, dysregulated me, made me feel unimportant, made me feel not loved, broke, went wrong, anything could make me want to die. Because it was just always there, lurking, lingering. And it was my answer to, like, I'm overwhelmed as fuck. And I was overwhelmed as fuck because, like, I had unprocessed stuff from early on throughout life. I had like 40 years of unprocessed traumas and experiences and misunderstandings and stories that I was telling myself about myself and other people and what happened and blah, 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 that all kind of made me like not like life, So shadow work was the way that I eliminated those stories and cleared up those misunderstandings and processed those traumas. And if I had not done that, then I wouldn't be caught up. I would still be overwhelmed. I would still feel the weight of it all on me. I would still feel depressed and confused, and, I wouldn't be able to see like the light at the end of the tunnel sort of thing, right? Like, it took putting one step in front of the other before I could even start to feel like I was making any sort of progress for quite a while, years. I had to take steps for years without letting up. And trust me, it was like it was years of baby fits in between taking steps. It would be like I'd take steps and, again, like something would hit me and trigger me and I'd be right back into infantile states of taking a fit and wishing I didn't have to live, So it wasn't like I just snapped out of it. It was like I had to uncover layers and layers and layers of my misunderstandings and my traumas and the stories I was telling. And, some of them were mine, but some of them were just passed on to me. And the reason why I knew to do that was like because of various things that I learned. And one of them was Dr. Bruce Lipton's research, where he is a doctor and he was teaching doctors to be doctors. And he was also working in a lab. And he realized in his experimentation that the cells were influenced by their environment. That one cell, depending on what was around it, that determined what the cell would become. Basically, his research revealed that the environment was changing our DNA, not necessarily hereditary traits. The hereditary part of it was because we were in the environment of our ancestors. That's why we would have things passed down. It was because of the climate of the environment. It was the same. And he was sort of rejected with this information when he first discovered it, because actually it undermines the premise of what doctors are using to treat patients with. It undermines the premise of the medical field as it is in the United States. And so it was rejected because it was like, I have a hair that's like in the fan and it keeps tickling me. It means that everything that was being taught in the schools was wrong, and that would mean that they would have a lot of revamping to do. And also they're tied into these pharmaceutical company payoffs and payouts and incentives and all that. So really there appeared to be some corruption in the healthcare system because of that. Because the truth was revealed and then no one wanted to know about it because it disrupted the reality they were living in, and they were benefiting greatly from the reality they were living in. And that meant they would prefer to live a lie that gave them what they wanted out of life than the truth, which would change the course of everyone else's lives, the patient's lives, right? Like, you can't make money off a patient if they know how to heal themselves. And so anyway, eventually though, he did get some ground, and his information is out there now, and plenty of people understand and know about it. And he's got a lot of lectures out there, which explain things so well. He spells it out, step by step. He's done a wonderful job of explaining things in layman's terms, but also making sure that the science is understood. And even just the nature of what science is. He even talks about the dogma that's involved in the scientific process. So it's just valuable information, because once you know that you're actually programmed with your environment, and then you look at the environment that you grew up in, and you understand that your programs, your patterns of behavior and feeling and thought are all coming from that, then you understand that you can change that. And he does talk about that as well. He outlines many ways in order to change your reality, given what he learned. Repetition is one way that we humans are programmed. So repetition can change the programming that we get. He also teaches about how most of the programming becomes subconscious, because the conscious mind is thinking, so it doesn't notice what the subconscious is doing. And the example that he gives is about, like, when you're driving, and have you ever driven somewhere and then arrived and been like, oh, I don't even remember driving, but you did it perfectly because your subconscious was driving while your mind was off thinking. And so because if our mind is busy thinking and we're not noticing the subconscious, then a lot of our patterns are going under the radar. And so that's why people don't understand that they may need to do some shadow work, because unless they're coming up against other people who it's rubbing the wrong way, or they're getting triggered a lot. I had the benefit of having so many programs, so many misunderstandings, so many traumas, that my whole life was one big reactive state after another. So I knew that I needed to change, right? But somebody who's just living an everyday life, working their 9 to 5, and falling in line with what is expected of them as a human in a society, they may have those little ways that they undermine themselves, others, their relationships, self-sabotage, or whatever, that might be bothering them, but not in a big enough way where they actually come across this kind of information. They'll go to more traditional routes of handling this, like therapy or medication, or, whatever it may be for them. But in actuality, what I've done is just started looking at my programming and then started changing it. And I've known that it was in my subconscious, so I trained myself to look for it in my subconscious. Another very helpful piece of information that I came across was the information which is passed down, through ancient knowledge from the Essenes. It's called the 7 Essene mirrors. And Greg Braden has a film on YouTube about that, where he outlines in a storytelling fashion the 7 ways that other people are mirroring us back to us. And this is very helpful information, because now, all of a sudden, I can start to see more of what's in my subconscious by seeing what I see in others. I take the reflection back within myself. So I start, looking at myself. I look at my behavior. I reflect on it. I look at the judgments that I have and the ways that I'm projecting, and where I'm blaming others, and where I'm shaming others, and where I feel disgust or outward dislike or any strong feelings about others. And I turn that back in on myself, and that shows me in me how I'm programmed, because everything I'm doing is due to a program. So if I am showing disdain for another human being who's literally just like trying to do their best, living their life in circumstances that I know nothing about, and I'm sitting over here just judging them, thinking I could do it better, but that they should be doing it better, that ain't my job. I don't know what's best for them. I don't know what path they're on. I don't know what the divine orchestration has them learning, right? And it's the same with my family. Like, I can't rush them along, and it's arrogant to think that they should do it on my timeline, right? So those things that I see outside of myself are really existing in me. So in the example of my family, like what I'm being reflected back in that case is that, I am depriving myself of like-minded people, of people who I can relate to. I've been doing that, not them. They can't just change because I want them to. I need to allow myself to, mingle with other people. That's what it comes down to. That's what's being reflected back to me. But over the years, there have been other things reflected back to me, of course. Things that I judged, things that I didn't like, things that I felt very strongly about were wrong, or, whatever it was. So I took all of those things and I looked for the root cause within myself, and then I neutralized the energy. So here's the other thing I needed to know is okay, so once I realized that I'm doing something and why I'm doing it, what do I do about it? And it was you just neutralize the energy, because neutral energy doesn't have a charge for or against something. Both sides of the scale exist on any energy. But if I'm not charged towards one or the other, then I can kind of slip through it without that judgment, and then I have the bigger picture view when I know that both exist, right? It's this person thinks this very strongly, that person thinks that very strongly, and they both have their reasons for thinking so. Well, it just so happens that both those things are true, and the only part of me that could not see that would be a part that wanted to agree with one or disagree with the other, and decided to take a stance on it, because that's not neutral. Okay, and then I'm going to get lost in the sauce, so to speak. I'm going to be totally in the reality that I have chosen and the story that I'm telling about that particular thing, instead of neutralizing myself on the thing so that I can get above it and see that both things are true. Because otherwise I'm going to have to polarize against somebody who's doing the other thing. And I can't know the biggest picture view for them. I can't know what their soul was intending. But I do know this, because I've done astrology and I've done human design. When I look at those things for people, it's all written there. So if somebody is having an experience, and it's an experience that I judge, and I'm like, look at you, you're a fuck up, you're doing it wrong. But then I look at their chart, and it's written in the stars that that's what their experience will be. Who am I to say that that's not the experience for them? It's literally written in their astrology chart, and I'm going to try to say that that's not right. So I've had the benefit of knowing that there is a divine orchestration. There is something else kind of dictating this, right? It's not me. I don't get to say, So to me, cancel culture never landed, because to me it was just when you're trying to cancel someone or something, all you're really doing is just what I said in that quote in the beginning when I looked at my memories. Your behavior is showing your relationship with yourself. Your relationship with yourself is that you would rather exclude something than accept it about yourself. And, if that's the experience that you're meant to have, then that's the one you're going to have. But if you are having that experience, then you're not neutral on it, you don't have the biggest picture view on it, and you're literally having an experience of division and polarization. So it helps to know that that's what you're doing, right? It's not wrong to do it, but that's what it is. That's what it is. It's just your perspective. There are other perspectives that are just as valid for the people who are having them. And when we consider other people's perspectives, right, when we decide that I would like to understand what your perspective is, in addition to mine, you can see how even that expands our view. Because at least we're going, oh, it's not just how I look at it. They look at it a different way because of the experiences they've had, right? And if you're not willing to take that in for other people, that's where you're at. But that's still where you're at. Even if you don't believe that anyone else could possibly have a perspective that is valid, it doesn't mean it's true. It just means that you're in a perspective that doesn't value other people's perspectives. That's okay for you, but it doesn't mean that other people's perspectives aren't valid and important for them. We can't play God to other people. We don't get to dictate their lives, what they do with their energy, their lives, their decisions, any of that. But we do each have a highest potential. And so, yeah, it can be hard to watch somebody that you love make choices and decisions, knowing that there's a potential that they could make another choice that would be maybe a higher timeline, an easier life, something that wouldn't cause them to suffer as much. It's very difficult to watch, especially if you're on the cleanup crew, for the decisions they are making that cause detriment. That's hard too. But what it does is it reflects back to you on where you stand. It's well, you have to put yourself in the equation. So if you're always on the cleanup crew to somebody's bad decisions, where do you draw the line? What do you not agree to? What do you agree to in being in that relationship, and what do you not agree to? Because you can't just point the finger, blame them without taking any accountability for your own contribution to the equation, which is whether or not you're participating in it and what you've chosen to do with that, And it's not easy, right? These aren't easy choices. If you were to choose to cut off a family member who really needed you just because they had been using you for the past 3 years with no progress on from your point of view, that's a hard thing to do, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it, right? So sometimes we have hard decisions to make. Sometimes the thing that we think is the right thing is the right thing, but they're still not going to do it, But we still don't get to do anything about that except for tend to ourselves and take responsibility for ourselves. So if there was this potential and the other person doesn't live up to the potential, and that negatively affects you if you're in that equation, you have to now decide, what am I going to do with myself in this equation? Since they're going to stay in that negative cycle, I'm going to have to remove myself, because otherwise I'm going to get pulled down into that cycle again and again and again, or I'm on the cleanup crew, which takes away from the time that I could be bettering myself in my life, because I want to do that. And if they don't want to do that, if they want to stay in the cycle that they're in, that is their choice, but now I'm faced with a choice. It's like being sovereign. It's like ending codependency. It's like letting people figure it out on their own. And it doesn't mean never helping people. It just means because these patterns repeat, sometimes there's a pattern of enabling people to repeat those patterns, and sometimes we have to consider that as well. Oh, where am I in this equation? Oh, I've been enabling this. They couldn't keep doing this if I wouldn't keep rescuing them, So it's all those kind of things, and it's never about us controlling the other person. Like, it's always what we can do for ourselves and taking responsibility for ourselves in the situation. And I think that when we do that, it's easy to enact and act in the win-win-win, meaning I win, you win, we all win. Because if I'm taking my best interest into consideration, that means I'm not going to be enabling a pattern for you if I've had to remove myself, right? That's a win for you, even though you might not like it. And maybe when you go to ask somebody else, they're like, that's a crazy ask. I don't even know why you're asking me that. And then maybe that's the first time they realize that they were asking too much, that they were taking too much. You know, like, we can't expect that we are the be-all, end-all in somebody's equation either, you know? Like, we're not, because there is free will. Like, people can make choices. And so I think we do have a rough plan of what's going on here, and I think we are designated certain energies to work with and through, but some people it's going to take longer than others because they are making the decisions with their free will. To me, it was never like, it was like, I have a lot of work to do. I'm going to just do it. And I wouldn't have wanted to not do it, you know? But that's who I am. That's what I'm programmed to do. That's what I programmed myself to do when I know I could. So that's why I did it, you know? And that's why I continue to do it. I continue to clean up my vibration, figure it out, right? Like, if, okay, I'm not going to just stay in this situation where I look it around and all my family members seem to be in patterns that I can't save them from. And I feel like it's uncomfortable for me because I don't want to see them suffer anymore. I can't just like go, oh, poor me, I'm in this situation. No, I got to do something about that. I got to change the situation for myself. And that's me taking responsibility for me, right? Because there's a lot of people in this world. There's not just the people that I, was born into the family of. There's a lot of people in this world. And also, like, we won't go towards and manifest anything that we don't think that we're worthy of. And so when you look at your patterns, it's like when your parents were maybe poor or, didn't have enough or didn't think that they were worth the promotion or felt like they were always overlooked or were always fighting over money. Those kind of patterns can really like get passed down to us, and they can also weigh on our self-worth. If our parents didn't think they were worth it, then we probably won't think we're worth it. And if our parents put on a bravado, a false sense of being worth it, meaning they said it, but they didn't believe it on the inside, then there were probably a lot of false starts or like wins that got taken away later, or it was probably a hard track because that's like energy that's at war. It's not a smooth, coherent energy. So here's another reason why you do the shadow work. Is like you want to get into the subconscious for anything that's working against you, because just what's on the surface, your conscious mind, if you're thinking, oh, I'm all that and I know I'm worth it, but your subconscious mind is programmed in a different way, that means you're at odds. And that means your manifestations aren't going to come in. You're not going to line up with them because there's a part within you that doesn't believe it. So you have to reconcile with what's in your subconscious in order to get the fruits of your labors, like to actually get there to the thing that you're trying to achieve or wanting to experience in this life. Like, so for me, it was like, oh, here I am doing all this work to reprogram my subconscious. And at first, it was just so I could get love. It was just so I could find a boyfriend that I wouldn't have to break up with. And then it was because, oh, I need to love myself because that's the only way to line up with a boyfriend who's worth it. And then it was, oh, I need to do this because I'm not done yet, and I want to actually manifest a certain type of life, but obviously I'm still at war within myself, so I've got to clean out all this gunk, And that's like, oh, I haven't done it yet. My outside doesn't match what I intend, so there's still some more stuff in here that's in doubt and in fear and resisting it, right? And so it's just like cleaning all of it up. And then when the outside starts matching, then you know you're getting somewhere. When you don't have any more like anxiety or looping thoughts or depression or, all that stuff is usually an indication that there's unprocessed stuff that's just waiting to be processed. The depression is like a need to rest in order to see the things. Anxiety is being irritated because you don't trust yourself to handle something, which you don't trust yourself to handle it because you haven't handled it yet, which means like it's unprocessed. And fear is like just not knowing that you have your own back. Why? Because you haven't proven that you do yet. You've proven that you don't, So all these things get resolved naturally the more and more shadow work that is done. And so this is all, even like patterns of weight, like I carry extra weight and I've known that that's a pattern. That's energy that's in me that's being carried, right? And there are different layers of it I found as well. Like it wasn't like I've lost weight before. And I even lost weight to a point where I didn't think I would get it back. I didn't think it would gain back, but it did gain back. And then I started to see, oh yeah, there's deeper layers of stuff for me to understand about weight loss and my body and loving it, right? Because if you put something in the equation of why you're doing something that's out of fear or doubt, then the results are according to that. So that's why I say like doing stuff for the right reason, right, is more favorable because then you get the outcome that's in line with that. If I put fear and doubt, like if I want to lose weight because I'm afraid of people judging me, okay, that's a lot different than I wanting to lose weight because I respect and love my body and I want to grow old with it. You see, the difference is one is done out of fear and one is done out of love. So I definitely want to pursue the one with love instead of with fear. And I think before, even though I didn't lose weight for the reason of trying to attract men, it was already part of my programming that I wanted to attract men. So it wasn't like I was already at the point where I was doing it for the love of myself and for the love of my body as the vessel that would carry me in throughout the lifetime that I'm in. But it was pretty devastating for me to start gaining weight again because I was already getting older. And I was thinking, oh, I'm not very attractive anymore. And that was really scary for me. Really, really scary. Because I wanted to be attractive because I wanted a man in my life, And now it's just like, it is what it is, right? This is the part of life that I'm in. I felt a little bit cheated, right? Because I felt like, gosh, I didn't even get a good man the whole time that I did feel attractive. And now when I get a good man, I won't even have that to offer him. But I think that, it is what it is, right? Like, it's not everything. Looks aren't everything, So it's just going to have to be that, right? Like, I guess it's going to have to be a relationship where that is not at the forefront of everything that we love about each other. And I think that when you are attracted to somebody on a soul level, that looks really don't come into it as much, If you're in touch with your soul and your heart, it's pretty easy to become attracted to somebody even if they're not conventionally attractive. I mean, it's happened to me many, many times where I have found men attractive who were not maybe conventionally attractive in all the ways, you know? For sure, for sure, for sure. So it's definitely possible that I can meet a man who will feel the same. But I have had all those kind of phases to go through, and that's programming. That, you know, like, that's programming I got from my ancestry. And I'm glad to give that up. I'm glad to realize it, right? And then to give it up as well. So I don't want, you know, my granddaughters to have that example of thinking that you have to be something certain before you're even found attractive or worthy, you know, by a man. I think that attraction can come from something much deeper, you know? And I'm glad it can, because I'm going to have that kind of attraction. Alright, I've been rambling. It's been a pleasure to visit with you. I'm getting uncomfortable now, so I'm going to get my laptop off this bed, lay down, and maybe watch just something until I fall asleep. How about you? What are you up to? It's 1:18 a.m. on 7/11/2025, and we just had a full moon in Capricorn last night, or yesterday. How'd it go for you?